In a world teeming with supernatural claims, from aliens and ghosts to cryptids, religions, and other unexplained phenomena, enter Captive Desk, that offers a skeptic's perspective. Join us for engaging discussions, opinions, scientific analysis, and a dash of humor as we delve into the unknown, unravel the mysterious, and confront the otherworldly as we seek to distinguish fact from fiction at the Captive Desk. Hey. Hello, everybody.
Deconverted Man here.
And we also got Mike here.
No.
Mike's muted.
I'm not here, really.
There you go.
So my new byline is done with this effing planet. Done with this effing planet. I want out of here, man.
Yeah. Anyway, we were just talking about Trump wanting to rake the forests so we don't have forest fires. And that Austria doesn't have forest fires because they rake their forests. And I looked it up. And sure enough, they have 150 to 200 forest fires a year because he's an idiot and you can't rake the forests.
So when I was like 14 years old and I babysat for my my 6 and 9 year old brother and sister, my dad always used to punish us by saying, "Go weed the garden." I had to go weed the garden. So I would tell him when I was babysitting for him, I said, "Get out there and weed the woods," and they'd start crying because they realized how hard that was going to be. It's like, weed the woods. And and then Trump comes up with that shit, and I remembered that childhood memory of messing with my brother and sister. Weed the woods. That's gonna work.
That's a chore we got. Weed the garden. Yeah.
Just nuke it. Just nuke the forest.
Yeah, nuke it.
Just
so
nuke.
To weed the woods
to weed the woods in California would take roughly 100 million immigrants and about $1 trillion to weed the woods like he wants to. I mean, if anybody's ever been in a woods, they know better. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
There's Rochelle. Hello, Rochelle. Good to see you. Tilting Windmill stopping in. We got Jay stopping in. Hello, Jay. Good to see you. And the trusty ape. We're so woke.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Hello, everybody. We are gathered here to talk to Deconverted Man, also known as Dan Green, also known as Lobster on his head, about about his book that is authored by Dan Green. You got him. We got him. He's here. He's got a little book out called Logic and Morals. It's on the screen. It's in my hand. Mike's got one too. And
Mike. I don't remember this. I kind of remember it. I mentioned this book offhand, and I remember you going, "Oh, that's I gotta go spend $8 now, and
Yep.
I forget what the context was of why I mentioned it, and I'm like, well, okay, cool. Glad you're gonna get it. I don't know. I guess it was some talk about morals that you were having it with somebody at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm like, I wrote a book about it. I proved that you can use logic for morals or whatever it was. So it's offhanded comment. So, and you're like, well, now I have to get this book. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I just assumed you were begging me to buy it because.
Well, a little bit of rebate from the poster that I got you, so it all evens out.
Oh yeah. Thank you again for that. I still have that right behind me, and I walk by it every day and try to see a part of it, but I need a magnifying glass to see it. So.
Hello, Tori.
Even though it's 3 feet high or something like that.
Wow.
Anyway. Oh, so can you take the names of us down so that it's not blocking part of the screen?
Oh, being difficult. Hold on.
Where you got to go to do that? Oh, you got to go to resources or something.
You got a thingy over here.
A thingy. Sort of thingy.
Logic can also lead you to horrible conclusions.
There you go. I found it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, take her away, Dan.
Oh.
Is that an appropriate thing to call you, or is that a pen name, or are you like hiding your identity?
Yes.
We're gonna call you Dan.
That's fine.
So, you know something? Hiding your identity. It's like there are so many of us that the chances of them coming after any one of us is so remotely low.
I like a little bit of mystery.
Mystery. I don't. I'm an open book. My whole life, open book. Ask me anything. I'll tell you any rotten story, any drunken monologue, whatever. Okay.
So take the opening paragraph right there, Dan.
Oh.
And then we'll hand it over to you, and you can talk about the book a little bit.
Okay. Well, logic, in this case, informal logic, as we will be dealing with natural language in this book, is a system that is used to deduce a conclusion based upon the premises.
Yep.
We'll bring us back up here, and we got the cover of the book up here, sporting it. We got the chat on the screen. We're all set. So what is the purpose of your book, Logic and Morals?
To make a argument that you can indeed base an ethical system using informal logic. And then from that, you could extract a more detailed ethical system, which is beyond the scope of the book. But it's to establish the grounding of the argument first and foremost, and then somebody else can take it from there, because the nuances are too, you get too ethereal, too many what if, too many, things that are just outside the scope of what I could do. But, just say, here's the argument, very simple, straightforward argument, but I argue for every premise and the conclusion and show how every single one is sound. And then I made sure to define every single word in the entire argument so that everyone knows what I'm talking about. And, there's a little bit of mussy in there of like, well, what about this? What about that? But I kept that relatively light. So it's a fairly short, simple read. I thought about, that it might be a blog entry at first, but then I was like, well, it feels like a book, so I'm gonna see if it will be a book. And then when I finished it, I was like, I guess it's a book. I mean, it's decently length, and I'll put it up for sale, whatever, And so yeah.
And then so Mike says something about it. He says, "Hey, you got to get Dan's book." So
yeah.
Then we were talking, so I said, all right, so I'll get Dan's book, and then we'll talk about Dan's book. So
yeah, I like I like the clarity of it. But before we get into that, could you make me big again? I just want to make a comment about informal logic. Informal logic is leads to a lot of trickery. But for any informal logic, you can create these predicate statements. And I took your argument, Dan, and I put it into predicate logic with ChatGPT because it would be too hard for me to do it with my brain. And basically, you got these little symbols like for all X, okay, if X is a human, then X wants to exist. And then it goes on and on. But if you digest that back into English, it becomes very precise. Now, this is a very precise logic if you convert it into predicate logic, right?
Yeah.
And if you do it right, but then if you try to convert it into predicate logic, you can see where somebody might be trying to pull a trick on you too. For all individuals X, if X is human and wants to exist, and if X interacts with at least one other human and does so optimally, then X must act in ways that enhance the existence of all other humans. End of book.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So anyway,
Well,
the way that's done is you got to pick these symbols, right? And I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I did. Let's see. What the hell? Okay. P humans. Oh, this is a real simple one. Now this turns it into well, God, what's the other kind? Just regular old mathematical logic, right?
yeah,
P then Q, Q then R, then S.
yeah, that's just formal logic. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just
But,
called formal. Yeah.
Right. Turn it into predicate logic. You've got to create these little functions. Okay. Like I such that X interacts with I. Like, okay, X interacts with Y. So I such that X means that X interacts with Y. This is X exists. This is X wants to exist. HX is X is a human, and BXY is X behaves. So the B is always like a verb, and the subject is over here inside a parenthesis. So that's how you turn it into predicate logic.
Well,
And if you do that with a lot of arguments, this part right here, where you try to convert it into symbols, tells you whether or not somebody's trying to pull a fast one on you. So
right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. By the way, we haven't stated the argument in full, but
no. But yeah.
But yeah. It's so. Do you want to do that, Mike or Dave? Either one of you, or do you want me to do it? Or, I don't know.
Put the argument in full.
Yeah. Yeah. So people know what the bleep we're talking about.
What the bleep we're talking about? Okay, so where are we here? Okay, premise 1, all humans want to exist. Premise 2, in order for a human to exist, they must interact with other humans. And you defend each of these in a separate chapter, I think. To interact with other humans in the best possible way, a person must behave in ways that support and enhance the existence of other humans. Therefore, if we want to exist and our existence depends on interacting with others, then we must behave in ways that support and enhance each other's existence in order to secure our own. And that pretty much defines a basis for morality. So anyway.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now it's up to you from here on, Dan.
Yeah, that's like it's up to the somebody else to figure out how to implement that. But yeah, yep. I mean, it's all based on things that are either you could say evidentially true, but I went to the length to defend each premise because there's potential counter examples that somebody could think up of, so I wanted to negate those, and I think I did so. And yeah, so informal logic, as opposed to formal logic, is essentially just dealing with natural language, and it is taking the syllogistic format and simply looking at what are the words, what does it say, and what does it mean, and and you can still identify logical fallacies. It's just you're not dealing with the abstract like you are with formal logic. In formal logic, you are dealing with the symbols, and that's it. You're not connecting it with anything real. It's all A and B and C and D and whatever. It's like, okay, and that can be anything. And you can actually do some interesting. A is B, then B is C, and then C is D, and it's like, oh, that works great on paper. But what does that mean? It's like, well,
Right.
A is something. You need to make it something for it to matter. And there's a discussion about the use or limits of both formal and informal logic. And one of the thoughts, and I agreed with this when I read it, was it cannot lead us to a new idea. And that is a limit of, I think, as far as I can tell. I mean, it might not be completely true, but you have to kind of check in with reality to find out if your argument is sound. And so you're not learning anything new. And so somebody might say, well, what's the point of doing any of this logic stuff? It's like, well, because you're saving some time and energy of presenting all the data that there is to present. Like, if you want to make a valid and sound argument, or just sound, you could say, because if it's a sound argument, it has to be valid. So if you wanted to make a sound argument for biological evolution, you could do that. And you could do it within a few premises, and you wouldn't have to give the ample amounts of data that there is for evolution, because you have the argument. So it saves some time. And then that's basically why I did my channel in the first place, was these apologetic arguments, for some reason I can't figure out, have nothing but bad logic in them. And I thought that's a great way to highlight the abuse of logic, is to point out these fallacies that the apologists make. And, well, there's a reason why. And the reason why is, well, we have to check in with reality. And when you're dealing with the abstract notions of the spiritual, metaphysical, hyper ESP, whatever God realm, you're dealing with an idea, not an entity like things that we can verify. And so you're going to have logical fallacies because of that. And so once I learned informal logic, I realized all the arguments for theism that I'd seen and memorized so far were bad. And then as I've gone on from that point, I have yet to find one that is free of fallacies. So that enough is reason to be skeptical of the conclusion. Their argument sucks. You need a better one. But we theists like to say things about morals, that they're objective, and I'm like, well, what ethical system are you speaking of? Because you're just saying that morals by themselves, you need an ethical system. So here's an ethical system that is objective, in that it's grounded, but you still subjectively pick your starting point. And so you could pick some other starting point other than what I picked and come up with a different system. You could say, I want the starting point to be that eating donuts is something I want to do. And you could get to some conclusion based on that. Whether or not that would allow you to live a long life or not is another question, but you certainly could start anywhere. But this
healthy donuts would be a great thing.
Yeah. But
somebody needs to get on that. I mean, seriously.
I found healthy ice cream bars.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, they're keto. They only have 2 grams.
So
go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
Okay.
And I wanted to. Yeah, you did call them out. Flat Earth, young Earth, etc. As an outright lie. Mm-hmm. You said also be careful about using this. So
yeah,
where is that exact line where you're going to say, hey, you are lying? I put it as the well-educated folks at the creationist organizations that have to know better. Would that fall into that category?
Yeah, that's why there's 2 potential names. So I introduced also in this book two logical fallacies I would like to see introduced, and one of them is actually, there is already a fallacy that kind of is like it already, so it might not need to be made. But at any rate, fractal error or outright lie. So I'm not sure which name people would like better. So it's either fractal error or outright lie as the name of the fallacy. And so the fallacy occurs if and when somebody or some group says something that is just not true, like at all. So the Earth is not 6,000 or 12,000 years young. It just isn't. That's not true. And we can demonstrate that it's not true through various methods that we have at our disposal. And whether or not the person knows that it is not true or not, because usually when you say a lie, you're referring, person knows that they're lying. They don't, in this case, it's an outright liar or fractal error because it just isn't true under any condition. So it doesn't matter that they don't know that it's a lie. It's still not true. And that's the way that I thought of that. But yeah, it has to be something demonstrably, evidentially true that can be proven, in court or something, whatever it is that you want to prove it in. So all humans are mortal. Well, this is a truth that we could easily prove. That's in the classical argument. All humans are mortal. Socrates is a human, so he's mortal. So it's something that we all, not just that we all know, but we can all prove that's true. So if somebody said, well, not all humans are mortal, well, then you need an example of a human that wasn't mortal to prove that that's the case. Otherwise, you've committed the fallacy of the fractal error or outright lie. But you have to be careful because you have to make sure that your burden is to really show that this is absolutely untrue, and you can't just say that, So I reserve throwing that fallacy out there for the times that you can, demonstrate it. It's like 1 + 1 is definitely not a million. It's like, okay, so if someone says 1 + 1 is a million, they've committed the outright lie. So stuff like that.
And mind reading special knowledge. I like that one too. To point that one out.
Yeah, that one's potentially potentially there's a fallacy that exists that kind of covers it, but my version is a little bit different than that one, and I can't remember its name offhand. I'd have to look it up again. But at any rate, there is a fallacy that's similar to it. But there's lots of fallacies that are similar to each other, so it's probably fine.
Well, but yeah, ad hom.
Yeah, it's kind of an ad hominem sort of appeal to not purity, but yeah, it kind of like appeal to motives. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I get hit with this a lot over my YouTube career, as it were. Being told, you think this, you believe that, you know this, you know that, and I'm like, really? Go ahead then. Tell me what else I'm thinking, please. I love being told what I believe. It's just so enjoyable to be told what I'm thinking and feeling all the time by people. It's so great. I love it.
Yeah. When you're done with that, tell me what I want.
Yeah.
Tell me what I want
like,
for dinner.
You just really hate God, and it's like, how do you know what I really? Do I? That's interesting. You just decided that for me. Okay, great. What else have you decided for me? So.
Well, that's like an abuse of the lie, right? Where you throw right out. Do you say I'm lying? Are you calling me a liar? Are you calling the people in the Bible liars? Right? You jump right to that, and then it's like you got to put somebody on the defensive right away, and it's like. Well, you're not calling them liars. You hear that a lot as a apologetic argument.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, they don't have to be lying, but it's possible they're lying, So that's, and some of those things you can't know because, thousands of years ago, you don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, all the people are made up. So nobody is lying because nobody actually exists. So, these are characters in a book. So, you could deal with it that way. But yeah, it's basically that, people say, you believe this, or you know this, or you don't believe this, or you don't know this. And that is the special knowledge or mind reading fallacy. Again, two different possible names that I toss out there for people to decide which one they like better, because I don't want to tell people what to call it. They have to, the Zeitgeist has to vote on that.
You should put a poll in the end of the book.
Yeah, maybe.
www.
Yeah,
you should just know what they want. Yeah, I mean, you should just know what they want to call it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know how they feel, right?
Right, exactly. Commit the very fallacy that I've invented, right?
Okay.
So what else, Mike? You had some more to say. You liked how simple it was to read, or easy, or however you want to put it.
Yeah, it was just real simple and clear cut, and just I don't know how to explain it. I'm so used to convoluted bullshit in philosophy books. This was just a breath of fresh air.
Well, you did a good job of setting everything up. You know what I mean? You explained, like I said, I think you mentioned earlier, the all the extras and everything. You kind of granted those for the sake of the argument, right? Of course, you're always going to have some of these minor exceptions, but generally speaking, it almost always applies, right?
Yeah.
And that was the thing. The one chapter is chapter 3. The whole humans want to exist thing. That was very interesting, where people, even in very terrible conditions, or put examples of through extreme measures in a hospital or something, just to live for another week. That there seems to be a real drive for wanting to live that another day, right?
Yeah, you would, looking back, of course, the most horrific time in history with World War II and what happened, where you wonder, why didn't the person just end their life, knowing what was going to happen? I mean, if you didn't know, that's one thing, but you absolutely know, and it's like, why wait? But there's something about that we're going to keep carrying forward, because, well, tomorrow it might be that you find a way to escape, or it might be that the war ends, or who knows. And so if you give up on life on your own, you've kind of let them win in that way. So there's lots of reasons to keep existing as long as we can. Like I've dealt with depression myself, and it's like, yeah, well, if you want to kill me, depression, you're going to have to do it. I'm not going to do it for you, kind of thing, where you tell your brain, okay, look, if you want to shut down everything, go ahead, but I'm not going to do it for you.
Right.
So I'm not going to help you to end myself. I'll show you, and to understand and recognize, this is a chemical imbalance that
that was my alarm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
there's one other thing to say about this. It is the very nature of what we are and how we're structured. We have this huge dopamine system that when we wake up in the morning, it makes us get out of bed. So it's the nature of what we are. So it's almost deterministic that we are going to want to get up and move around and do things that will help us to keep existing, and to stay away from things that will, like if there's a burning coal fire in the next room, you're not going to go in there and throw yourself into it. That's something you're going to run away from. But if there's a bunch of donuts in the right room, you're going to run toward that, right? Because fat and sugar is good for us, we think. And so we're, the very nature of what we are makes us want to exist.
Mm-hmm.
If all is working, if the whole machine is working the way it's supposed to, we will pop up out of bed and say, "Hey, another day, I get to do something," and you'll run around and you'll do shit that keeps you existing, like eat food, stuff like that. So,
yeah. So I thought that was a good premise to start with. I mean, that we all need each other. We need other people. At least, And again, you could go with an extreme counter example of, well, some hermit, but they had to interact with somebody before they were a hermit. So there's some amount of time that you have to deal with humans, whatever that, maybe it's a very small amount of time, but still it's the argument works within that tiny frame of time. Even if you're planning to go live on a mountain all alone or whatever, you're still gonna need.
And what you're gonna take with you, right? I'm independent off the grid. I've got my solar panel, I've got my rifle, I've got my knife, I've got my axe, all these things I bought at the hardware store to show that I don't need anybody. Right.
Yeah.
And think about it. If you live by yourself as a hermit, right, and there were no animals around, no squirrels, nothing, right?
Oh, that one
at all.
Yeah.
Okay. But you had, say you had all kinds of vegetables or something. But if you lived all by yourself, what kind of morality would there be? What moral dilemmas would you have if you lived only with yourself and nothing else and didn't interact at all? So morality is basically about interacting. So, I mean, it's built into the whole, or interacting is built into morality, because morality would be meaningless without other things, other living things, right? So.
Yeah. And even the way that you treat, the creatures you encounter would be something that this ethical framework would apply to, because you don't you could capture the bunny rabbit in any number of ways. You don't, but once you've done so, you don't need to, waste your time and energy torturing the dang thing. You can just cook it and eat it, So,
Yeah, that's why I left other like squirrels and rabbits out of the equation. So,
right. Yeah. So, well,
there were only mosquitoes.
So you could torture the carrot. I'm sure.
Well, yeah. if you lived on a mountain with nothing but mosquitoes, what moral? I mean, of course, you'd have the moral dilemma of, should I eat those mosquitoes? But I don't think so. I don't know. I think they eat you, you'll eat them. So
yeah, sure.
Thanks for dropping links, Tilting Windmill. Don't worry about spelling errors. It happens to everybody. And B.S. Lewis has a great idea. You should write a book about that lobster stuff.
You did. You did.
What are you talking about? Look, I discovered the lobsterist. I cannot confirm or deny that I had anything to do with the writing of that book. No, if that one was going to be published, it would be part of some other book, because I don't think anybody should pay for just that.
I think you did write a book like that, right?
Well, there's 3 books. So there's Caught Between an Infinite Hope and a Finite Despair, which is a really short title. But that's my deconversion story and some mussing. And then there's the Lightbringer, which is my non-true book. And then there's this one, Logic and Morals. And I'm working on one called...
we covered that one.
We covered that one.
Right? Check out on my channel. We sat down and we talked about that. The Caught Between an Infinite Hope and a Finite Despair. So go back, check out my channel. You can see that.
Yeah, so I'm working on another one, and this one's going to be quite a long book, and it's called Lobsters Exist.
Yeah, with an introduction by Jordan Peterson.
No, I had those first. Darn it! I had.
What do you mean by lobsters?
Yeah,
what do you mean by exist?
I thought, well, what can I? I'm going to prove that they exist. Can you do that? I don't know. I'm going to find out. Can you prove anything exists? All that stuff. So it will be interesting where it takes me. So, but yeah.
Where do you want to go next?
I don't know, Dave.
The chapter, what would be then? Chapter 4 is the next one then?
Well, we got P1.
Yeah, chapter
humans
4.
Want to exist. So it's chapter 4, P2? Can't tell.
Possibly.
that's-
Oh, chapter 4.
Every
Yeah, then talk about your
No.
your syllogism then.
Oh, let's see here.
well, yeah, well,
Okay, I missed.
each one is its own chapter in a way. Yeah.
There's
So which
chapter
one-
3, P1. Okay. And then where's
Chapter
P2?
3.
Okay, there's P2 right here. Existing as humans requires interaction with other humans
it's
for
the
some
same
amount of time. And then we got down to P3. To optimally interact with humans, one must behave in ways that enhance the existence of others. Now, that's interesting because that leads to a whole bunch of interesting ideas like compromising with others and giving up something of yourself in order for the other person to come up equally to where you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it opens up a little bit of a door into the world of compromising with other human beings. And then you get to the point where now, instead of doing whatever I want, I can only do what I want up to the point where it affects somebody else's wants, right? So you have to like equalize, right? You have to. It's like I'm going to give you 3 apples, and I'm going to take 3 apples, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So
And
this
maybe
premise,
and maybe sometimes I'll take 2 apples and give you 4. you
Yeah.
know?
yeah, that's the other thing, and then you get that altruism, where you're gonna go over and above just being fair, and you're going to make sure the other person gets a better deal than you. But why would you do that? Well,
It's funny because the Dawkins, of course, wrote The Selfish Gene, and I was like, this sounds so selfish, but yes, it is. It absolutely
It
is
is.
selfish because you want to exist. Well, that's selfish,
right.
But okay, so what? That's what it is. What it is, and so my interaction with you is kind of selfish in a sense that I'm serving my best self-interest, but I'm also enhancing you as I do it. So it is selfish, but it's also good for you that I'm being selfish in that way. Whereas usually we think of selfishness as it's mine, you can't have it, and I'm not sharing it, whatever. But that doesn't lead anywhere. Where this is like I guess you could call it altruistic selfishness, which is kind of a weird way to think about it, but why not? It works,
Yeah, there's another subject here, another dimension, basically, and it's kind of Zen. That if you behave in such a way that you're quiet and silent and you don't want anything, you don't take anything, you're living in a state of peace, which is also desirable for you to live in a very limited, call it a state of peace, right? A peaceful coexistence is what you're striving for. And sometimes to do that, altruism and basically giving the other person all of the apples and you just saying, okay, I'm going to go without, leads to a more peaceful state in you. And that's sort of Zen, right? So, I mean, that's also part of this whole thing. And that is supported naturally and biologically. And I watched this in raccoons, that they will start a little fight, and they'll end the fight because neither one of them is comfortable feeling angry. They're more comfortable munching on the food and just being quiet and getting along with each other than they would be having a hell of a fight and killing each other, right? Because there's risk and there's anger and there's adrenaline, and none of these are comfortable states for us. So being in a state of not being angry, resentful, or whatever, the peaceful state is a state that pleases us greatly, and we're going to strive for that. In order to do that, you have to interact with others in a fair manner. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I mean, that's biologically based too, that we shy away from adrenalized anger situations. We should anyway. Some people kind of get addicted to a little bit of anger and resentment, but they're miserable the whole time. They just don't know it. Resentment is a poison that you swallow yourself, hoping the other person dies.
And where would it be biologically why species strive to reproduce and survive?
Oh my God, the reproduce part. Yeah, I've been contemplating that.
You know, why?
Yeah.
Why? Right? I mean, why?
Yeah.
Why does one say, "Hey, you know what? Let's get busy," right?
Because we're not immortal. It's one way.
Well,
it's one way to ensure your genes keep going. So
that would take a talk all on its own. Basically, that whole sexual reproduction thing. You know, the idea that there's pleasure, but there's also romance, and I think for humans, romance is more important than the pleasure. And that bonding together. And,
there's cost to it too, especially before we had modern medicine and everything. You know, a lot of women didn't make it. You know, so it was a very costly decision too.
I've been married twice, and I understand the cost. The cost of one's peace of mind.
There's a very simple phrase, "Yes, dear." That seems to work.
Yeah. Yep.
What is it on some days she corrects me, and on other days I'm just wrong or something like that.
Yep.
And we were talking before that it's something we've talked about before, and we were joking about it with the hermit and stuff, that like it or not, we need each other, right? Even people that are antisocial, you know, you need the people bringing you the electricity to your house so you can play your video games or watch movies or whatever you're doing in your home.
Even hermits need Uber. Uber Eats, right?
Well, you see the again, living off the grid, folks. You'll see the videos or shows about them, whatever, and they get stuff airdropped in, right? So, I mean, that's a long line of people to get products, you know, and then on an airplane and have them come in with the skis on them or whatever they got to do in the middle of nowhere, you know, to bring them some boxes of stuff so they can live without people, right? So it is interesting that no matter how hard you try, and Dan was talking about it to start out too, that you were born and you had to have, you know, at least somebody give birth to you and take care of you long enough that you could go out on your own. So
right. The few counter examples, because not very many people are going to want to do a solitary lifestyle in the first place, but it doesn't matter because there's still that window where this would still apply to them. So, and as Mike pointed out, which would have been great if I thought to include it, would be that morals is about interacting with other people anyway. So it really doesn't apply to the hermit, and the reality is there's so few hermits that it really isn't worth considering. But I have it in there, just like and I dealt with it, and that it's dead. I killed it, and my argument is still sound. Moving on, it's like, and so it's sound. Boom, boom, boom.
There you go. You can check that out when we're done.
That video has an example of the "Yes, dear" meme in it. Very, very.
Oh, does it?
Example. Yeah.
Raccoons. Mike likes his raccoons. He used to really, really like them. Then they got obnoxious.
That's the thing. I thought you were saying earlier that we were raccooning the forest, and I was just like, what?
No, raccooning the forest. Yeah, we're raccooning it.
It was that or a different R word, and I was just like, what are you talking about? What?
See, that's what you need to do, Mike. You need to train the raccoons to rake the forest.
Yeah.
And we could employ an army of raccoons with tiny rakes.
As they rap. Yeah.
Well, the little rakes won't cost very much, right? It'll be cheap for little rakes and little garbage bags.
Yeah. My son uses Uber Eats constantly, and it arrives and they leave it on the doorstep. And he's playing a game, so it takes only 20 minutes to get down. And one day I warned him. I said the raccoons are going to get your food. 2 nights later, he opens the door and he sees this raccoon with his club sandwich running down the hill with the bag in his mouth or his hands, just running down the hill. And he yelled at it and then dropped the club sandwich and he went, "Yeah."
And
What about Dad's always right. Yeah.
What about the freedom to do stupid stuff? I'm sure I might have brought that up.
The what?
The freedom to do stupid things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those variables that comes in that yeah. And even, you know, we've all done stupid things, right?
Oh, here we go. Freedom to do stupid things right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what about that, Dave? I mean, you know, there's restrictions on some of our freedoms to do stupid stuff. Like you have to wear a seatbelt, but also that could affect somebody else. Is there something that is stupid that we do that must be permitted or must be denied? And you know,
eating donuts. Eating donuts. That shouldn't be illegal.
Well, you're bringing up a lot, you know, the health issues and stuff, and you know, yes, there's a place for regulations and stuff, but I think there's also the place for the market, right? If people say, "Hey, I want less sugar or whatever in my food," then you know the companies are going to say, "Here's an option that has less sugar," and if you start buying it, that's what they're going to make. You know, so
you know, yeah. And I was listening to this thing about how it is easy to be skinny in Japan, and when I went over there, I was like, man, everything tastes different. And I couldn't figure out why until I saw that thing. And I was like, oh, there's like no sugar in anything. Like they don't add sugar. It's whatever's naturally in there, but they don't add sugar. We add sugar to everything. I'm like, oh, okay. That's why it all tasted different. So, you know, or if they do add sugar, very little bit, but you know.
I don't eat sugar anymore, but I add salt to everything. I salt my bacon.
Fabio wants to know, they're in late, so probably saying stuff already said, but my understanding is that logic is a tool to evaluate and reason about moral issues, with morality provides the values.
That is moral. Yeah, that is one way to look at it. In this book, I just made an argument using logic for an ethical system based on the argument. So the morals aren't really dug into or what those would look like or how they would work. But the book is just the argument that gives you the foundation to build your ethical system upon.
Highlight Google Eats comment.
We got Chris Mallard stopping by. Hi, Chris. And Google Eats. Mr. Mike, your donuts have shipped. You may also be interested in heart attacks for dummies.
Yeah.
That's why Amazon is always recommending that book to me. I just figured it out.
And Chris, I heard from Seth, who got me a nice copy of when I was at the mic at the protest. So thanks to Seth. That was really, really cool, Seth, to take the time to get a hold of me and say, hey, here's a clip for you. So really appreciate it. And Chris has a good copy of everybody at the mic as well that he put out, because when we were doing stuff live and everything, it's not good quality, right? Live streaming isn't the best, right? So, but there is a good copy. So for those that saw the handheld versions going like this, and hey, sorry, I'm over here, and what'd you say? There's a beautiful copy. Chris has that posted, so you can check it out. And Once again, it was so great meeting everybody at the ARC protest. Speaking of nonsense, that's one of the reasons that we were all at the protest, including Chris and a lot of other great folks. The Kentucky Atheists put it on. We were talking about it for months before it happened, and then it happened, and now it's over, and it's bittersweet, right? Yeah, but Seth was great help to everybody, and appreciate you too, Seth. It was really cool for everybody doing all the extra stuff, especially because it was really hot. I mean, brutally hot. I told Joe, I said, one of the suggestions is maybe some more shade, some more tents, maybe some bigger ones or something. Yeah, so folks can get out of the sun, and on the off chance too, yeah, if it would rain, there would also be cover. So maybe it would be an idea that for future events, maybe have a thingy to raise, donate more tents thing or something. Because I think the shade is really the thing that saved us from the brutal heat. So that definitely helped, because wow, yeah, standing out in an open field in the middle of summer, it's brutal. But we did it for you folks. For all the folks that couldn't make it, we did it for you. We braved it, and thankfully nobody dropped over, but a few folks did about had enough, and I was one of them. So it was a great event, but it was also great to get back into some air conditioning, because wow, July in Kentucky, very hot. And I also wanted to mention, check out the description. We got lots of good stuff in the description, and I want to pull up the description real quick. We have, of course, Dan Green's book on Amazon, link in the description. We got the link to Deconverted Man's channel in the description. We've got the link to Answers in Atheism in the description. And Mike just hit 800 subs. So,
yep.
Trusty Ape had a little review going on one of your talks with JG and James, and yeah, a bunch of us were all over there talking. And
I listened to myself.
Yeah, they were talking about this. Remember, 666 subscribers when you hit that.
Oh, really? I didn't get that part. But I was listening to myself on his channel. I never do that. And Jesus Christ, somebody ought to stop me. I mean, some of the shit I come up with.
I mean, at least you don't go for like an hour based on like a 10-minute video or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really happy to get paid.
We can go 3 hours on Saturdays on a 10-minute video. It's real easy to do.
I know.
There's so much wrong.
Yeah, so, but I noticed that was, and I remember the 666. So, yeah, that's, now you're up to 800. So that's a nice little bump since we did that stream. So make sure if you're not subscribed, you head over there and get Mike a little bit higher. And again, Deconverted Man. And we also got links. Some of you may know Ember has some medical bills that came up. Anyway, yeah, everybody's heard about it. And if you got it like that, consider going to the GoFundMe helping Ember out. The link's in the description. And this Friday, I'm going to be on Charlatan's Web with Bree. Bree from Hive Psi has a show on Fridays called Charlatan's Web. And I'm going to be on this week talking about some Todd Standing Bigfoot stuff. And looking forward to that. So check out all the good stuff in the description, because I always try to put all the good stuff in the description. And hey, Dane, how you doing? Good to see you, Greg. And Rochelle and Tilting Windmill dropping links. Appreciate it very much. There's Chris's link. Yeah, Chris was close to passing out. It was. We ended it just in time, Chris. It was. I was getting fuzzy. My feet were dragging. It was, like being in the desert. It's like, oh no, this is how the last thing you see is the buzzards circling overhead. A mister would be nice. I don't, it's a matter of how much, you can run and how many generators or, you know what I mean? That would all come into play. But yeah, definitely, anything to help just that little bit would definitely make a difference, because a lot of the amusement parks and stuff, they will do that. They'll have little shady things or some filter or something, to get you a little bit out of the sun. And then, you come around a corner and they got the little mister that hits you or whatever. And it doesn't make a lot of difference. But, it's a lot when you got to set that up in a remote location, though, too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, all the logistics, I don't know. But, yeah, definitely anything would be appreciated. And don't forget lobsters. If you want to know about lobsters, make sure you check out Deconverted Man, because he talks about lobsters a lot. And there is the Lobsterist book, and I narrated the Lobsterist. So for those of you that say, you ought to try doing some narration or something like that, Dave, I did. So make sure you go watch that video of me narrating the Lobsterist.
The thing is, once you listen to that, you have to become a Lobsterist, because of everything you said was so true. Because you said that it was true, and it couldn't not be true. It. Yeah, once you read it, it says once you read it, it can't not be true because you read it. So I mean, it's obvious.
And I think isn't it John that they cite a lot that has it's true, it's true, it's true. I believe it's the book of John.
Yeah, but the Lobsterist actually contains a giant paragraph of science, more science than any other religious book. So that makes it definitely true for sure.
I mean, if you just got to say it's true more than the other book.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. Also, it says it has a better pedigree than one of the writers of the Apostles. I forget which one though. Lobsters would eat toast, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. We're good with lobsters. We're good with toast, and we're especially good with toast around here. A lot of folks know we really love toast.
We love toast. We love toast. We love toast. We love toast. We love toast.
I had to do it.
I just have to dance. I have to dance to that now. I have to get up and dance to it every time I hear it. It's like, very addicting.
Yeah, we can't forget to mention that Patrick Peace keeps insisting that we have all kind of satanic imagery on our channels, and that we worship. If you don't worship God, you must worship Satan, and that. I believe that's some kind of fallacy, isn't it, Deconverted Man? Where you're,
I think so.
how can you not believe in the same thing?
That'd be a false dichotomy, is what that would
false
be.
False dichotomy, yeah.
Yeah, where you go also right from God to Satan, and it's like, no, I think that's all the same story, right?
Yeah, I'd also say that's potential poisoning of the well.
Yeah.
and yeah, so.
But Patrick, we don't do that. We don't worship Satan. I don't know where you're seeing these pictures. I mean, clearly it's just a picture of Dan's book here up on the screen.
Yeah,
so
that's all I've seen.
To Patrick's credit, he was a little miffed with me, but he did show up in the chat. So, I will give that to him. He showed up in the chat. He entered the lion's den, so to speak. And everybody was pretty nice with Patrick. So I hope it's a good example that, even if we're giving each other a little bit of ribbing and everything, that we're always welcome to sit down and talk with you. And I know Deconverted Man does it a lot. He does a video on somebody, and next thing you know, he's got them on their channel and he's talking to them, right? We can be nice, right? And Mike does it as well. You've got a trio of folks here that can sit down and talk with you, even if we disagree, and we can be nice about it. So that's always a good thing.
So Dan, you talked to that guy about was he a Muslim, about metaphysics or
no, he was Hindu, particular.
Hindu.
Yeah, particular version of Hinduism that I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it was very. I'd never heard of it or anything, but yeah, it was very interesting. Let's see.
Yeah. What is it? Vadheda or what? I don't know how to say it. Yeah, I can't remember what he was, but I wasn't sure what his point was or what. I was never able to figure out what his position was.
Yeah, it was like kind of like skirting around that everything is based on kind of assumptions / inductive reasoning. I'm like, well, I mean, I okay, whatever. But like, what's the point? Like, what with science, like no matter what it's based on, ultimately, you could say, well, it's based on we have to observe. Okay, granted, we have to observe, and we then write down or type out or whatever that observation, and somebody else does the same thing, and that comparative process allows us to potentially eliminate the problems with our sensory inputs that we have, and there isn't any way to get rid of that completely, but the system certainly allows us to get rid of it a lot. So but he wanted
X mind.
Yeah, he wanted to kind of like make his own metaphysics that just ignored science and logic and went straight to a god. But the god concept sort of is his god concept is observation. Like we all observe, so that's what God is observation.
Yeah.
So there's a thing observing everything, and that thing is God. And I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't something have to observe God for God to exist then? Or like, like I don't know. Yeah. So it's very I didn't
when you get into
it, but I thought it was interesting,
But when you get into some of those obscure Buddhist and Hindu philosophies, you kind of cut the moorings and you're set adrift. That basically, and then they'll say, oh, but there's this God island out there, right? I can land on it. It's like, nah, bullshit.
You have to have a system that you can show works, whether that's, and the only two I know are science and logic. If there's another system, well, I guess mathematics, but that can go under science, I suppose. But and so can logic. Technically, everything can be under science if you want. But if you had another, if you had another system, great. How does that work? And he was trying to say that that's what he had done, is established his system. And I said, well, but you're not showing that it has any predictive attributes or any falsification. And he seemed to agree that there wasn't a way to falsify it, but he didn't see the problem with it. So it's like, because it's not attached to logic, I mean, it's not going to be logical. Once you detach yourself from logic, everything is fair game. So but yeah, I mean, I've had weirder conversations, but not many.
Well, and that's the thing, when you enter the supernatural or anything like that, all bets are off, right?
Magic is if magic is possible, all is permitted. I think William Lane Craig likes to talk about how we don't see cows or whatever appear out of nowhere. And I'm like, well, but we could. If what you believe is true, then it could decide.
We should.
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't a cow just appear out of nowhere?
Occasionally, right?
Yeah, every now and then, it's just God gets bored and is like, poof, here's a cow for you guys, you know? Here you guys go. I thought you could use it, you know? Why not? You know, it's just a mess.
And given the price of beef, you could probably trade that cow in for a Ford F-150 right now.
Or manna from heaven. I had thought for a long time that was like a real phenomenon. Nope. I was like, no, it didn't ever rain food of any sort that people can eat. Like, that never happened. Oh, okay. I thought like that was based on like a real thing or something. I know it rained little tiny frogs once, so I guess technically, if it rained frogs, you could eat those. But
if loaves of bread or something actually fell from the sky,
well, manna was like honey.
That would be in whatever it would be. Yeah, granola bars or
that'd
be as long as it isn't raining. As long as it isn't raining when the bread falls.
Yeah. Well, they make those what do you call? I don't know, food bars or whatever for food aid and stuff. You know, where it has all all kind of stuff in it. Yeah, and it's glorified granola kind of stuff, bar. Like, you know what I mean?
Pig lips and pig balls and
health bar or something.
Well,
a lot of that stuff they're leaving sit in warehouses because they got funding cut.
I guess if you had something light enough but it'd have to be so light it could be in the air. I don't know that it would be anything of nutritional value at that point. But I suppose
it's maybe God. You put little parachutes on it. What's the problem?
No, just like, how do you do it for real? Like, can we seed a cloud and make it rain something edible?
Cotton candy. Man.
No, but that melts in water, so.
Oh yeah. It melts in your hands. Oh God, I have memories of being a little kid and loving cotton candy and having it stuck all over my hands for the next 3 hours and like.
This is the weirdest book review of all time.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a conclusion, guys.
So we can
okay.
Redone.
Let's get back on topic.
No, never. More.
Yeah, we went through. We hit all 4 chapters there, and we do encourage everybody to get yourself a copy on Amazon, and also check out Dan's other books that are on there as well.
Oh yeah, I was going to say the devil thing. There's the Lightbringer that actually tells the real story of the devil. So if you want to have some,
yeah. So, because this false idea that we worship the devil or something. I don't have any idea about it, but I will. Considering the food, the food dropping from the sky thing. I mean, there might be a better odds of, a cow just falling on or near a fiery area and putting a nice barbecue on it.
Right? Like drop onto a volcano and get launched into the air.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. And then,
like a hurricane or something.
Disperse the stakes, right? Yeah. Oh, a Sharknado.
Yeah,
Steaknado.
Yeah, it'd be a steaknado. The cow would get dropped into a volcano that erupts, and it would cook it just perfectly as the tornado came. And it has sharp objects in the tornado, like it was over a knife factory, and the knives just like cut up the beef, and it all just drops down perfect hamburgers. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh man.
That would prove God. I'd be like, okay, you got me now. I believe
you got it. Yeah. Yeah. So
that picture you just had up. If I'd be looking at my mother-in-law and then I'd close my eyes, that's what I would see. It's like, and then I'd open my eyes.
Well, look, my ex-mother-in-law actually teaches Satan how to be evil. She's his tutor.
Yep. Okay, are we done with the book?
I like this. I like this picture.
We didn't do the conclusion, but we were going to.
Well, here we have the whole argument. The whole argument shown all at once. Right. Yeah, and this is an argument.
Whoops.
What did you do, Dave? You
I don't know. I sorry. I meant to hit this, and I hit it just a little bit low. I hit it just a little bit. It's touchy. I mean, it's touchy. Sorry. All right, go ahead, Mike. Got the conclusion. Okay. The P1. Yeah, this is what really the really interesting part was the whole that humans want to exist. So just that on its own was very interesting, right? So
that leads to morality.
We're gonna grant that, and and
it's sound. I defend every one of these premises in the book. That's
if you want to exist,
defending the premises.
Yeah, if you want to exist, then you're going to want it to be a little bit better, and then of course you want it a little bit better for everybody else, so you're all a little happier. Yeah, that's it's kind of a good idea all the way around. Go ahead, Mike.
How you ground your morality? This is it. This is just very simple. It's very in your face, and they'll say, "Oh, but what is why would you want to exist or something, or what is want?" Or they drill down a little deeper. Define want. Right?
It is, and it's in the.
What is wanting good?
The word is defined in the book. I defined every word. Yeah. Made sure.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. In the glossary, you have a glossary where you define every word carefully.
Right. So. Every word in the argument.
Yep.
Even human. I think that A is an identitative.
You even do A.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Just to make sure.
What do you mean by A?
What
do you mean by A?
Human is the one that I think the definition of human is the most, because these are a combination of definitions from dictionaries and the internet and a little bit of my own ideas in there. But it's because I didn't, just want to copy and paste it or whatever. But human, of course. I like this. Human is extraordinary, Homo sapiens, thinking man, or modern humans, are the most common and widespread species of primate, and the last surviving species of the genus Homo, a bipedal primate in the family Hominidae, which also includes great apes like chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans.
That's what you are, folks.
Thinking too much is what humans are. Basically, humans are characterized by thinking too much, overthinking everything.
The last paragraph is my take of what a human is. So, Dave, you want to read that paragraph?
You reading this are human. What it is to be human could be argued to be more than the sum total of these words and ideas. The brain seems to be the most human thing of a human.
Well, I think it's the fingers.
And Mike goes real in depth about the brain, and it is fascinating. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The brain is amazing. I mean, I wanted to be a little bit poetic because, what is it to be human? Well, that's what it is. It's in a way, it's hard to describe what a human is, but also we defined it anyways because we can. But, at the essence, at the core of what is a human, perhaps it is ultimately the brain. And how much more than that you need to be a human, I don't know, but you definitely need a brain.
Yep.
Although there have been humans that have been born without a brain, but they don't last very long. So.
And all we know is what we know to be humans with our brains. And one of the fascinating discussions I came across was talking about finding aliens in outer space to have somebody else to talk to, because when it comes down to we can't talk to any other species but ourselves, so we're only limited in that narrow understanding of our brain, right? We can't. No Dr. Doolittle asking your dog, hey, are you having a good day, right?
Hey, there's a deep dive, Mike, for you to go into. Was Coco really well taught, or did she understand English? Or yeah.
But from what I got of it, when the phrase "drink fruit" came up for watermelon, the thing understood, right? The beast understood, so it wouldn't have come up with "drink fruit," basically. And there were a couple other things like that. I've been reading. My friend recommended this children's book, "The Dance of Dolphins," I think. And it's really interesting because it's about this little girl who's raised by dolphins, and she's trying to explain to humans what her world is like, and it's really kind of cool. And it's all about waves and dancing and chirping and singing, and it's just amazing. The descriptions kind of take you out of your human for a little while, and we should be able to communicate with dolphins because I believe that they got a lot going on. It's just that it's such a different world, because they don't have hands, right? And that makes a lot of difference in what your orientation is. Heidegger has this, I think it's Heidegger, ready to hand thing, that everything we do, we think in terms of a hammer is ready to hammer. It's basically ready to hand. The fact that we do things with our hands really shapes a lot of our thought. And that's one of the reasons why we probably have trouble.
I just heard about this lately, Mike, where they had kids that knew, they can identify sphere or cube with sight, but they took kids that were blind but had gotten some surgery so they weren't blind anymore, and they didn't know which one was which, and from sight alone. And when they were touching it, they didn't know either until they were told that it was a cube or a sphere. Because being explained what it wasn't enough to connect the things together. Until they had all the things there. I thought that was really interesting and something. I don't know what it tells us about how the mind works, but it was very interesting to hear that.
It's called embodied cognition. Basically, it's a whole group of people that, for some reason, modern thinking on philosophy wants to ignore them, but they're probably the most correct of all. Basically, Evan Thompson, Francisco Varela, and a whole bunch of others basically had a whole theory about how cognition is basically in our bodies more than our brains. That, it's this mind and body. The embodied cognition is what it's called if you want to look it up. And we got to do this Scholarpedia thing that I've had up on the, ready to go for a long time, because they talk about some of those ideas. And there's a resource out there that I want to talk about. It also has a lot of stuff on physics, which I haven't looked at yet because I just looked at the brain stuff. But anyway.
I don't remember. What's that book? The Man Who Believed His Wife Was a Coat Rack or something like that? Was that the name of that? Or
yeah. Is that what the hell's his name? Oh my God, why did I forget him?
She keeps to herself, doesn't say much.
It's called The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, I read some of that stuff and I was like, wow, okay. This is cool. So, yeah. All right. Well, here, I got one thing here. Here's this. Okay, yeah, this is the thing. And then we'll here, put this in there. Here, Dave.
Where's the thing?
The thing.
Oh, here's the thing.
That thing, yeah. This is a good way to end this.
Wait a minute, I have to take the other thing down. Wait a minute.
Okay.
That's Oliver Sacks, by the way, that wrote that book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat.
All right. This is a good way to end. Thanks, guys, for interviewing this and promoting the bleep out of my book. I really appreciate you guys. And
again, links in the description. All you got to do is click it, get yourself a copy.
Thank you guys so much. All right.
Okay. Good enough. We're going out. We're going out, Dave.
It's,
Goodbye, cruel world. Are we leaving?
Premises are hard to see. That is just fine with me. Modus ponens is the plan. Serve you logic, I am the man. It was all good, don't you see? Until the day logic came me. Fallacies make me weak in the knees. Red herring will make you lose your bearing. That reminds me of this time I went to the store. At home and your mama, she is fat. That is why your argument will not stack. Cherry picking sounds finger licking. Speaking about chickens, this tangent is a big one. Premises are hard to see, and that's just fine with me. Modus ponens is the plan. Serve your logic, I am the man. It was all good, don't you see? Until the day logic came me. Strawman, is that your plan? Looks like you need logic then. At Baculum, I take the vacuum and shove it up your butt. Unless you bow down right now against my little cow. And how reduced to absurdity you will be if you dare mess with me. You can't believe that you say. Guess what? Personal incredulity, dismay. Premises are hard to see, and that is just fine with me. Modus ponens is the plan. Serve your logic, I am the man. It was all good, don't you see? Until the day logic came me.
I love that song.